We live.
Yo, what's going on? Yes, we are, Dustin. Yes, we are. What's going on, everyone? We're a little late tonight. Mark is going along with his breaking news call-in show. That's all right, because we are here also on the main channel. So we're following up Mark. So we appreciate everyone who wants to come over from that show and join us here as we are every Sunday night. And we have our regulars here. We have Brandon, Texas. We've got Tony Altimore, USC. We've got Tim Prangley, also USC. We've got Jordan, the Clemson man, the Tater himself, as Uncle Lou might say. We've got Dustin, Michigan. We got Tide Guy. Let's roll Tide. And we've got a newcomer right now, too, Manimal Matt, who's also a Michigan fan. We have Will, the Golden Domer, the guy himself, the Notre Dame man. And we have the Cardinal, Austin. How are we feeling? How are we feeling tonight, guys?
Well, according to my sources, Texas whooped West Virginia 38-20 this weekend. So I'm doing just fine.
You're lucky Joey's not here to cry about it.
The Trojans survived. We'll take it. Survive and thrive.
Michigan looked good against Iowa.
Yeah, they did. I'm feeling good. Getting the top 10 win at home, longest home winning streak in the college football is still alive. My voice is shot because that was a hell of a game. I was a hell of an atmosphere. Loudest I've heard, Death Valley, so in a while. So feeling good. Feeling really good.
What are you feeling? What are you feeling over the Tag Guy? Because you are a little. You got to deal with some quarterback issues, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think Bryce Young will be playing this week, unfortunately. But the way we ran the ball in the fourth quarter, I don't think the Tide has to worry much about A&M. That offense at A&M is pretty terrible right now. So, I mean, our defense will be able to keep them in check. So I think we'll have just enough offense. We're not going to lose to A&M this week. We'll roll again.
But will you roll Tide?
Will, you were off. Was that?
I said, but will you roll Tide?
We'll roll Tide.
Will, you were off this week.
Maybe if you guys want, Friday night, we could go over to the A&M call and make fun of them again.
Yes, please. That was so much fun. That was the weirdest thing that I've ever seen.
What the heck?
If you don't know Texas, if you know Texas A&M, you'll know what that is.
That's right.
It's a weird place.
We're not going to go into this. This is a family show. Will, you were off this week, so you were relaxing, huh? Who do you play next, Will? Who's the Notre Dame?
We play the Mormons. We play BYU.
Oh yeah, in Vegas, right?
Oh no.
It's dirty Mormons.
Catholics and Mormons. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we got a holy war. We got a holy war in the Sin City.
Yep, watch out. Batten down the hatches.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a great weekend.
I think our running game should be able to control BYU, and I think we should be able to just gash them on the run and destroy them on the line of scrimmage.
You should be able to.
I really want to see Drew Pine take the next step and have a really good day passing. That's what's most important to me in this game because I'm figuring we'll win. So I just hope the passing game looks a bit sharper.
What about you,
Well,
Austin?
how tall is Drew Pine?
5'11".
What?
Something like that. I think he's like 5'11".
Can he even get on a roller coaster?
Yeah, no, he's 5'11". Damn.
Yeah, he's not a very big guy.
We don't have to all pick on Will at once now. All right. What's going on, Austin? How you doing tonight, and how you feeling about your team?
Oh, never mind.
Austin's gone. He's like, no.
He is 5'11". He is 5'11".
Well, they took an L this weekend, so he's like, well, if we got to talk about this, I'm out.
Yeah.
I didn't
lost
say anything.
Lost to a pretty bad Boston College team. So.
I didn't say anything.
No, Cunningham got hurt too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Well, let's go through it because Week 5 didn't disappoint in certain areas. Obviously, not the greatest maybe of weeks of certain games, but every team had its challenges. But we don't have to talk about a whole lot because Mark just talked about it for 3 hours. But you could argue, of course, Colorado fires Carl Durrell and defensive coordinator Chris Wilson after 0-5 start, and then I think the shocker was that really a lot of people didn't see coming was Paul Chryst getting fired after his 8th season.
Yeah.
After, again, he had a 67-26 overall record, and he just went like 9-4 last year. Not like a bad thing, but he had 2-3 this season. So what do you guys think of that? Carl Durrell, not a surprise. Ralphie deserves better than that.
Yeah. But the problem with firing the Colorado coach, they need to go one step further. They need to fire the athletic director. Because let's be honest, Colorado, since they came to the Pac-12, has not put a penny into any facilities. They haven't helped their coaches. That's why they lost Mel Tucker. You can switch out coaches all day long, but unless you're willing to put money into program, you're not going to win. And things are not going to change because recruits look at a lot of things. And one thing is facilities. Recruits want to go to a place that has good facilities, and they're far behind where they add in facilities.
Well, with Durrell too, just really quickly, because I want to hear everyone point on this, especially with Chris. But Durrell, we weren't surprised about. But even going back to McIntyre, McIntyre won the South Division, and the next year he sucked and he got fired. Like, they are not giving a lot of leeway for their coaches either. I'm not saying McIntyre was like a great coach by any means. Don't misquote me there. But he did win the South Division one year. And then the next year it was crap and he got fired. So
Brandon's team could probably win the South. So winning this Pac-12 South in recent years, back then wouldn't have been a massive achievement. So
but for Colorado at that point, it was a massive achievement at that point for them because that was their first big winning season in the Pac. And even with the rest of the conference down the points, it was a big win.
They won 10 that year, didn't they? I think
9 because they got blown out in the Alamo game by like Oklahoma State. Still 9 wins.
That would be to Texas. Thank you. Yes.
Or yeah, one of those.
Wonder what,
according to my sources. Sorry.
What are Colorado's expectations? What are their fans' expectations there? If they're running these coaches out like that.
Yeah, I would think a bowl game at this point is what they would really want. They're what, 2-3 wins a year, if that, right now. I don't really pay much attention to them, but I know they've been terrible.
Well, I think this year they would take just a win. The way they're playing this year, the expectations are not high at all.
This year's a wash, basically. At this point, 0-5. It's just reset this year and
just win a game.
Move forward.
I don't know that I see a single win on their schedule, and I don't mean that in a bad way because I want the best for Colorado, but I don't think they win a game. Arizona's looking solid, and I don't think there's anybody else in the conference that's anywhere near as bad as they are.
Yeah,
they are probably going to go win.
Arizona's the one that just got him fired because they just lost Arizona by 17 points, whatever it was. So it was like, no. But the one thing as a Pac-12 person, for definitely the three of us, sometimes when you fire a coach, the team all of a sudden starts wanting to actually play ball.
Sometimes
you get a thing. I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on with Arizona State, but the Arizona State interim coach is a very, very famous, revered high school coach in Arizona who was on their Arizona State staff for the last few years. The guy who took Chandler to 4 state championships or something. So he came in and just instantly started laying the law down. All right, this is how we're going to run things. If you're late, you're out of practice. Just laying the law down like a great coach should. The opposite of what Herm Edwards did with his ridiculous new coaching leadership model, which was ridiculous. So with those changes, the guys are already talking about how Arizona is rejuvenated and just feels like Arizona State feels like a whole new program. I kind of wish USC got one more shot at Herm Edwards, because I would have preferred we just beat them like 120-4. But we got the new guy, and he actually had them. You guys, if you watch the game, he had them executing and playing like they haven't in probably 2 years. So kudos to him.
Yeah, he looked great.
Well, that's what I mean. I want us to have our. We have to go to Colorado. I'm like, man, I want our bye week, but now they got rid of Darrell, and I'm like, oh crap, we might actually have to play a football game. Like crap.
I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think they're going to be competitive at all. I really wouldn't worry about going there.
There's probably a good chance that Colorado's not the worst team in Colorado. Colorado State's pretty rancid. So, I mean,
yeah, I can testify to that.
There are programs out there, FIU. I mean, there's some teams that really, without a pulse, they just roll football out there.
Yeah.
But they are bad. I would say probably bottom 10 bad for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. What about Paul Chryst, though? I mean, I'm sorry. Some people might go, well, we kind of saw it. Most people, if you asked yesterday again, no one would have named Paul Chryst being fired today.
I think there's a chance he might have gotten fired later in the season, but I'm surprised it was this early.
Yeah,
just because I felt like they had a great year in 2019, 2020 huge step back, 2021 a little better, and then 2022 back down. So it was kind of like what happened at Michigan State with Mark D'Antonio, but I definitely feel like Wisconsin those fans deserve more. Barry Alvarez, who Notre Dame fans love, he deserves more. So hopefully Wisconsin can. I don't know if they're going to get Leopold or they're going to stick with their DC, but that program deserves to be better than they are right now.
Does anybody know how many rushing yards Wisconsin had last night against Illinois?
I assume you know.
2.
Yeah.
Yes. 2.
Wisconsin,
who is known for just running it down your throat on a regular basis. 2 yards. What the hell happened? Illinois should not be.
They ran into their old coach. That's what happened.
I mean, Bielema is building a little bit of a monster in Champaign right now. Like Michigan's going to have to look out the second to last week of the season.
Illinois
they're a sleeper.
Illinois basically said, "You have the worst quarterback in the Big Ten. Make him beat me," and they couldn't do it.
It's what Notre Dame did last year. Just same game plan Marcus Freeman came up with last year, and everyone's just been copying it.
I mean, I guess when you frame it in that perspective, when you're not doing the things anymore that you used to do well, like running the ball, the defense isn't bad. The defense has been fine, but even then, it's still not. It feels like a step back from previous years. It feels like they've gotten gashed a little bit more in some of their games. Just nothing about the program seems like it's like trending upward. The quarterback play, which has been the gripe of Wisconsin fans forever now, that hasn't improved. And when you don't have that going, and then you can't run the ball, that was the one thing you used to be able to rely on is not working. It's like, well, maybe we just need a reset. So I was listening to Josh Pate tonight, and he mentioned some of the according to the sources he has within the program, there were things within the program infrastructure that were kind of lagging behind their peers, and just a lot of things operationally that were missing from the program. And I don't know how much truth there is to that, but it does seem like it would make sense, and it would explain a lot of the regression that's gone on the last 2 or 3 years at Wisconsin.
Jordan said sources.
Yeah. Take a shot every time someone says sources.
So far, it seems like a lot of Wisconsin people want Jim Leonhard to take over, but if the defense has been like really lacking, maybe it is a full reset at Wisconsin. Does Jim Leonhard take it, or do they actually go outside?
I think they should go to Lance Leopold. He's a Wisconsin guy. He knows how to build teams. He built up Wisconsin Whitewater into like at least 5-time national champion. They built out Buffalo from like dead MAC program to a competent MAC program. And he built Kansas into Kansas and now to a bowl team. I think Lance Leipold's the guy. He's from in-state. I think that's who they have to go after.
You stop trying to tear out Kansas's heart, Will. Let them enjoy their moment.
Yeah, don't be a hater.
Jeez.
The real MVP says if there's another head coach that gets fired, who do you guys believe it'll be? It's got to be Brian Harsin.
And then I would go
Scott Satterfield.
Yeah. Those are my two. And, G5, I'd say Jeff Scott at South Florida. Will Healy at Charlotte has been a disappointment, and I hate it for him because I really like him. He did a really good job at Austin Peay, but it's not working. Doesn't look like. So those are a few that I think could be coming soon.
Yeah, I think that's why I said with Chris, it was surprising because I think Harsin was everyone's pick next in line to be named to be fired, especially after the meltdown that they had last night against CU, basically getting completely shut out in the second half. So,
I'll say something about
what was that?
What's going on with the firings right now? Like we got Scott Frost gone, with Nebraska being a pretty premium program. What do you guys feel about how these coaches are getting fired because maybe they think they have to compete to try and get a good coach in before Nebraska finds theirs? You think this carousel is going like that because Scott Frost got fired so early? Well, not like it was early. We all knew that was coming.
Well, like with Brian Harsin, when he gets fired, it's pretty much known. He should have been fired before the season. They tried everything in their power to get rid of him, and for whatever reason, they kept him. A couple of the other coaches, I think it's just the problem is they have the early signing period now in December. So you can't wait until the end of the year to fire your coach anymore and get a coach in and have 2 months for the February signing. They got to sign in December, so they need the coach now. And I think that's why you see so many coaches getting fired before November.
So who are these coaches that are going to be coming in, though? Have any of you heard anything about anybody going to any of these colleges?
I've heard Jamie Chadwell at Georgia Tech is pretty likely.
Oh.
But the problem is it's kind of hard to talk to a coach while they're coaching another team right now. Most coaches don't want to, leave their team midway through. They might have the conversation in that, but they're not.
That stuff usually goes through agents anyway. Like they.
Yeah. The other thing, guys, is the list that you're seeing are like literally reporters who are only slightly more qualified than any of us, just like brainstorming what they think. Most of these lists are not derived from inside leaks into the school. They're just reporters being like,
Exactly.
I think Jamie Chadwell is a really good answer. I mean, Jamie Chadwell is a really good answer because he's awesome. But that's literally how much thought goes into some of this.
Well, and a lot of it, like Urban Meyer going to Nebraska, it's more wishful thinking too. It's they throw the names out there, and I do believe that coaches like Franklin from Penn State and that, their agents throw their name out there too, so that way they can get a little bit more money from the school they're at. That, hey, we're going to leave. And
there is today a whole discussion on one of the Wisconsin message boards where they're debating like what they would need to do to get Nick Saban to come there from Alabama.
Oh my God!
I read that they said that Nick Saban might go there because Wisconsin has better academics,
which has always been a priority for him.
Yeah, right.
This is actually a question specifically for Tim, just because he loves hearing this name. Tim, which of the open jobs do you think has the best chance of drawing Urban out of retirement?
I'm thinking Fox.
Well, Uncle Rico actually answered it for you. He'll just coach them all at once. Yeah, he'll just multitask.
He's not going to coach again.
I actually think he might go to UNLV. They got some pretty good lap dances out there.
You do.
That might be the place, for him.
And it has nothing to do with all the stuff that happened in around the Jacksonville issue. It's just, I just think the guy's done. You know what I mean? He's done enough. He's a legend. Where's he going back and risking his? Because he'd be risking kind of, you want to end up like Chip Kelly. He had that little flash in the pan kind of thing. He has a good season. He has a good team this year, but man, unless he turns it around, all that goodwill he had with those Duck seasons just kind of seem like they're tarnished now because of just laying an egg at UCLA. And which one of these jobs is going to be on par with going into like when Ron Zook just stocked the cupboards at Florida, or rolling into a Tressel OSU team that's just fully stocked? None of the teams we're talking about even remotely resemble that kind of an opportunity. So why would he tarnish his great record by even playing around with that stuff?
There you go, Tim. But what happens if Texas A&M gets mad and fires Jimbo Fisher? Would he go to Texas A&M? Because that place is loaded.
That's a possibility.
Shadow
Beard. Loaded down
there you go. All right. There's one place for you.
Hey, Mark. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Mark.
Shadow Bearded in the comment section knows what's up.
He finally got off. What do you guys think about if any? I think I asked this in the chat earlier. If any NFL coach, is there any NFL coach right now that you think would even consider taking one of these jobs?
Yeah, I was gonna say Matt Rule, absolutely. The way Carolina's going, he's ready. Yeah, no. It's just a matter of when.
Who do you think would go after him?
A lot.
Oh yeah,
almost any of the ones you mentioned. Really.
I could see Nebraska going after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with the NFL too, unless you have someone like Matt Rule who was a college coach, even if they're like a NFL OC or DC, they maybe don't have a lot of college experience, so you don't know how they're going to translate. Some teams will still go after him, like his name, Bieniemy, the OC for Kansas City. Him out there, but he doesn't have a lot of like college coaching experience, so no one knows how he'll actually do at the college level.
If you're Colorado, I think you give him a call though, because he's the legend at Colorado as a player.
You got to reach out at least and see.
Everybody should call him.
Colorado has nothing to lose. Colorado needs to call everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe except for Les Miles and Urban Meyer. But call everyone else.
What about the Arizona Cardinals if they fired their coach? Would he come back to college?
Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah, I was going to say Cliff Kingsbury. What about him? I was wondering about him, actually. Would he come back, and where would he go? I mean, Nebraska would definitely be a good fit for him.
I like him at Arizona State. I feel like he just fits the vibe.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have to move.
He would only take a head coaching job, but they'd have to also make up for it. But ASU would make sense, too, for him.
He's a good coach. College coach, anyway.
Well, that is true. And he had Mahomes.
Lemansky.
I think he is a good coach, a college coach. I think kids want to play for him. Just like, Matt? You were talking about the Lions coach? I think kids would come out and play. I think young kids would come out. They'd want to play for a guy like him. He just he's so passionate and just in your face. Like,
well, he's still young. He's still a younger coach too. So he still's got like that energy and he does have charisma. Kingsbury is a character. That's
what I think about Campbell at Detroit. Like, he's coaching the older men. I think he would fit better in college system, just the way, because of his character. He would get more good recruits, and the way he shows his passion, kids would love that.
But the only would translate to a better defense.
Yeah, that's a big one.
These coaches want to come to the college and recruit. That's the problem, because there's a lot of coaches that go to the NFL and then they come back to the college, and they don't want to recruit as well as they used to, because that's a big time crunch. You look at look at the teams that are really good. Their coaches ain't getting off at 5-6 o'clock at night. They're in that office all night long making calls and that. So that's another question. You give up the NFL game. Do you want to go to, all year around recruiting kids and coaching kids?
Right, 20 plus hours a day.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not an easy changeover, but
That's one of the reasons why Irish fans are still bitter at Brian Kelly. Too much golf, not enough recruiting.
All right, let's take this from Lomansky right here. We appreciate you, of course, with your dedication and viewership and contributions. USC Tim, don't fire anyone on the CFB after dark until after the season.
Oh, no, we can't. We can't afford the buyouts yet. You guys need to send in some more super chats, and then maybe we can afford the buyouts. At this time, we're a bit strapped. So, who you see here, we got what we got. So
that is true. And Lomansky doesn't know, unless I'm not in town, I'm the CEO. I'm going to remove everyone
from our contracts are solid. Our contracts are airtight. So I don't know if you could afford our buyouts yet.
According to my sources.
According to my sources, I'm up in a contract here.
And don't forget, guys, we signed over our grant of rights for the next 12 years, so we can't even leave.
That's right. The Voice of College Football has the grant of rights for 2036. 2036, the grant of rights is up for the Voice of College Football, so we'll be here for a while.
It's true how that works. Mark might disagree with that. I'm not sure how that works. We'll see if he says anything in the chat. He did say you're talking his language, though.
Super chat.
So what are we talking about here now? What are we talking about,
guys? I have another fun of. Did you guys see any of the Ohio State Rutgers game?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see Ryan Day fake punting up 49-10?
Yes, I did.
Now, do you think that was just something that they looked for on film, and that the kid just did an executive decision? I don't think that Ryan Day told, or I don't know if they have a special teams coach. I highly doubt a coach said, "Okay, look for this. If you get it, green light, go." I think it's more of a situation where the kid maybe saw something on film, and probably just took off on his own. You know?
That's I saw reporting that said that today. That the protocol was if there's nobody there, take the ball, and it's a few yards, take the ball and run. And the kid did it.
Yeah. So it was just a thing that happened, and the kid just acted on just reacted to what he saw on film, reacted to what he'd been told.
And let's be honest, guys, he made the right decision as far as like a play execution goes.
I don't know. That hit out of bounds. I bet you was thinking about that decision for quite a while after. Once you remembered what happened, you probably regretted doing it.
Yeah, it's like it happened like Expired said. It wasn't a called fake punt. They tried to block and he ran.
Yeah, it's a coach thing. If you're moving, because he's a rugby one, so he runs to the side. There's no one there. Take off.
Well, they talked about on the broadcast. They said they overloaded one side, which and they came in, and then there was nobody there. It was just he could have walked for that first down. So it just instinct popped in and he ran.
Yeah,
it came across as poor sportsmanship because it seemed like, oh, you call the fake punt. It's like, well, no, that's just what he's coached to do. I mean, that's not
in that when that happens, not necessarily when you're up 39 or whatever it was points. That in a split second, the kid doesn't have time to think about, now, will this be good sportsmanship? Or, I mean, he's not thinking that. He just sees it and just went.
No, he just wants to take that opportunity. He's got that opportunity. That window's open. Take it.
Yeah. Really quickly, Lomansky, thank you again for the super sticker.
Actually, I think we have actually reached my buyout. My buyout was $9, so I think I better bring it today.
You're out.
Bad news for you, Tim. Mark wrote on here. He's got us all locked down till 2036, so you can't go anywhere.
Apparently, he does. Did someone forge my signature? Because I did not sign paperwork.
By then, we're gonna have a 64-team or 62-team playoff by 2034.
Good Lord, that's a long time. That's
worse than the games?
Network contract.
How about the games this weekend? How about the teams handling what they needed to handle? Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson. Exactly. Let's get into some of that. What do you guys feel about everything this weekend? No real upsets other than that Tulane game.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was Oklahoma.
If that's an upset.
Yeah, really. I don't even know
Now,
anymore.
I haven't seen the game yet. How about can anyone fill me in? What happened? So, what magic did they Missouri work this weekekend with Georgia? I did not see. I haven't seen 1 minute of that game.
They
blitzed
a ton.
both
Same
sides
here.
of the line of scrimmage.
It was
They-
it was a really physical game. They did a lot defensively. Just they sent a lot of pressure on defense. I wish they had they were more aggressive and they executed better offensively. That was because it was a great game plan, and I think they did a good job of not letting a lot of Todd Monken's play designs really develop. They made sure that Bennett was always under pressure. Georgia's offensive line looked about as bad as I've seen it. They were allowing free rushers, not great blitz pickups. It was and you could tell they were just really out of sorts for a lot of the game. So that was a really impressive game plan for Missouri, and that was obviously no one expected that.
No, it almost looked like Georgia played to their experience, like the experience of the other team, like they dumbed down.
Yeah, play down to their level.
Yeah.
Oh, and unfortunately, this is 2 weeks in a row that Georgia hasn't looked good because they struggled last week against Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that saved them was Missouri kept going for field goals. They had the ball 1st and goal on the 1 yard line and got an illegal motion, put them back to the 6. In 3 plays, they couldn't get 6 yards. They had to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was kind of their story. They could get down there, but they just wasn't scoring touchdowns. They were going for field goals.
Ben, tell Connor what you did. Tell Connor it was an accident.
It was by mistake. That's why I said sorry, Connor. Something was brought up too. I was listening to some other stuff today. Georgia struggled with Mizzou last year too, with Mizzou's D line last year. Mizzou seems to be one of those teams. No matter what their game plan is, they just have that effect on a team. They know what to do to kind of disrupt the flow. Now, obviously, it wasn't as bad last year as yesterday, but in the sense of the score and everything like that. But it seems like it's just they know how to game plan against a team like Georgia.
And who's that? Mike Fort. You're right. Like Missouri's offensive line, they were opening up huge holes, man. There were a lot of long runs by Mizzou on that game.
And when they were actually running north south, they were getting things done. It's when they got cute that they would stumble.
Yeah, they did this. What did they do? That like triple option flea flicking. I don't know what it was, but I think they did it twice in the game, and it was kind of like, why did you go? Why in the world did you even do this when you guys are clearly running? You're owning the offensive line, but they tried to get fancy, and then obviously they got no yards out of those plays. I think they barely made it to the line of scrimmage on both of them.
Well, and I'll tell you the other thing that game did. Where did the Georgia fans go to? Because up until that game, all I hear about is they're the national champions. They're the greatest team on earth. And all of a sudden they struggle against Missouri, and I don't see those fans anymore.
Well,
I don't know about you guys, but I still don't want to play them.
I mean, no. But here, watching them in that game, it reminded me so much of how Clemson would look sometimes. 3-4 years ago, especially early in the season. They're kind of playing how that 2016 Clemson team did, early in the year. Kind of, it seemed like they knew they could out-talent everybody on their schedule, and they were just trying to hit the fast-forward button to the postseason. I remember that year because Dabo said he wanted to strangle that team, and it took a loss at home to Pitt to kind of wake them up. Maybe Georgia had that moment this weekend. Maybe they take it. It's going to take a loss for them to really ramp it up. But that's kind of just what this reminds me of, like just being sluggish and just knowing you can out talent everybody. And when you go into a game with that mindset, you can be beat any week. If the team out prepares you. So
we'll see what Kirby does this week. I bet he's going to get on their butts and. That was kind of a wake up. Like, hey, you're not the national championships or national champions still. You still got to win this one. So that might be a big awakening for them.
I think we lost Ben. And what Uncle Rico said there, I mean, at this point, it's week 5, right? So, you know, most teams have players out. You know, that's just football. And if they're not out, there's at least 2 or 3 more guys that are playing hurt, maybe playing at 70, 80%. So, I mean, you know, it's what's going to happen during the season. You football, you have injuries. And that's why at a place like Georgia, you would expect they have someone to back that up. So,
Oh, yeah. Next man up attitude. It looks like Ohio State, let's bring this up. I brought this up the other day. They seem to have the injury bug going on right now. Like, they've got a lot of players getting hurt this year. Like, when I keep flipping on and off that game, and you got Ojibwa, like, they're constantly, somebody's getting taken off the field, going in the locker room.
I was just laughing at Connor's comment.
Yeah.
Down there, you see it. No, they are.
I was thinking dinged up. I haven't really paid attention to their injuries personally.
Yeah.
I mean, well, during the game, during multiple games, and you know their best wide receiver's out. I mean, he's probably going to come back this weekend, but a lot of guys seem like they just keep getting hurt, and they're taking them to the locker room. So, like I said, looks like Ohio State has that injury bug this year.
Well, and I'll tell you another game this weekend that surprised me. One of the biggest upsets I thought was Purdue beating Minnesota.
Yeah.
I thought Minnesota pretty much owned the West the way everybody was playing. And Purdue actually come in and played a really great game. And so now maybe
they control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Yeah, hats off to Purdue, what they did to Minnesota. They came in and definitely they had a game plan to stop the boat. They sank that ship.
Well, I mean, and really it just showed how much that offense in particular relied on the ability of Mo Ibrahim. Yes. He is a tough. He's one of the best backs in the country, and you know that offense runs through him. And you know Tanner Morgan up to this point has played really well, but it's clear that when they kind of feed off of each other, and if that run game isn't going, it's a much different struggle. I think Purdue picked him off 3 times in that game, so they did a good job of limiting Minnesota's opportunities. Minnesota, I mean, their defense played about as well as you could have asked them to, given the lack of productivity on offense. But it was a good game plan by Purdue. Nonetheless, they took advantage of Minnesota, not having their best player, and now Purdue is kind of in the driver's seat right now with that win in the Big Ten West. So there's still a lot of football left to be played, but I'm really interested to see who comes out of that division because it seems really open right now.
Oh, it's wide open. I mean, Wisconsin ain't gonna win it.
Yeah, Dr. P, I think you're right, buddy.
Yeah, it's wide open.
Brett Bielema's boys could win it.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, fear the Illini, man.
There you go.
They're coming for it this year, man. They really are.
Shocking.
The Fighting Brett Bielemas.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing tonight?
How's it going, Hunter?
Hey,
What's
Hunter.
up, Hunter?
Hey.
I can't stay long, but I wanted to kind of get y'all's take on the Alabama game this week. If y'all watched, I know Ty guy watched it, but there was some positive and some negatives from that game, and I wanted to get Ty guys take on the wide receivers. How do you think they played overall?
I think JoJo Earl is going to be fine. He only had the one catch. He made a mistake, but I think he'll be fine. The problem is Bryce Young got hurt so early in that game, so we didn't get a chance to throw the ball. The good news in the game with Bryce Young hurt, our offensive line kind of showed up, and we were able to break away 3 really long runs. So I think that helped. Unfortunately, I don't think Bryce Young is back this week against Texas A&M. I think he's going to be out at least 1 week, if not 2 weeks.
Well, the good news is Jalen Milroe was very good at managing that game and was able to got that long run. Holden just baffles me because when he catches the ball, he's pretty good at the run after the catch, and then when he drops 2 or 3. So you scratch your head when it comes to his consistency, but he's talented. He can do it. It's just that he's dropping balls that shouldn't be dropped.
Yeah, he is. I noticed that too.
And so,
let's give a shout out real quick. David Knight, I think, asked a real good question.
Yeah, real.
Sorry, not to change the Alabama quarterback subject, but David Knight, I think this is really interesting, especially really interesting with what's going on with some of the teams this week and some of the performances we've seen. Do you guys think that recruiting class rankings can be misleading? Because
definitely.
Yeah, David, I agree with you. I think first of all, I think they're incredibly subjective. I think they're incredibly overweighted by a few generally unqualified talent advisors at a few of these recruiting websites have just become incredibly powerful. And the vast majority of their people working for them, quite honestly, are not trained. They're not professionals in this. They've somehow gotten these quasi journalism jobs where they're ranking football talent, and they're not really not that good at it. So I think there's a lot of question on that overall. I think your point about the NFL grades draft space largely on need is also huge, because you have some of these places where you have too many people in one area and not enough in another, and you're just adding these stars, and you're compounding that by the fact that the people getting those stars are really not terribly qualified to do that in the first place.
I want to discuss both those points, focusing on two. So the first part is stacking guys. Remember, there's now the one-time transfer rule. So if you have, especially wide receivers, seems like they always want to get on the field really quick. If you have a guy sitting, they're just going to go somewhere else. I mean, you can't. The days of stacking 3 or 4 guys behind each other are pretty much gone. If someone's not getting there, but they're a 5-star or even a high 4-star, and they're not getting playing time, they're just going to transfer somewhere else. We've seen that happen. And then the part about the drafting on need, I can tell you as a USC fan, Helton in I can't remember when it was. I think it was one of those horrible years. He got a bunch of skill guys that got no O linemen and no D linemen, and so he had as far as you look at we were 7th in the country. That's great, but that was just based on a bunch of numbers guys were stacking together on receivers and quarterback and whatever. The fact is that left the cupboard bare a couple years later when we have no offensive line depth and no interior defensive line depth. And so the numbers themselves, having a top recruiting class, it doesn't matter if they're all running backs and wide receivers if you don't have linemen. So you got to be careful of that as well.
The other point is with the misleading, you also got to take into consideration, what does the coach do with those players?
Yeah,
exactly.
Are you a Texas A&M that has all these great players, but for whatever reason, they're not developing a quarterback, they're not developing the offense like they should? So you can have all the 5 stars in the world, but if you're not developing them then you think that it's misleading when the kid probably is that good. He's just not being coached.
I can attest that. Like Michigan takes 3-star recruits and turns them into 4 or 5 stars. Easy. All day, every year.
And Texas turns 5 stars into undrafted free agents, right, D4?
Yeah. It's development. That's it. You can get 5 stars in, but maybe also as a reach. The guy wasn't quite a 5-star. He just did go to high school. He was never going to make it in college, but it's a projection. But also he didn't get developed. And then even the NFL part is, maybe a team needs a quarterback. There might not be a great quarterback on the board, but they're so desperate that they're going to go, we want that guy way before they should take him. So it is by need. So it is a good point. I mean,
and obviously the NFL is way better at developing players. So if they see something out of a player, say a quarterback, they're going to develop them way better than what college system is.
To go back to Tim's question, according to my sources, he is correct.
Well, I can say this.
Those are good sources.
Well, I can say this as far as recruiting goes, because I pay a lot of attention to it. And you got to pay attention to the staffs that are identifying guys that are really good at developing talent. For example, you look at Dave Dorn at NC State. He doesn't get the most high drafted guy of talent, top of the line guys, but he seems to be able to develop the talent. And you got programs like Alabama and Georgia who are recruit very well, but they also develop very well.
Yes,
So
they do.
you have to take that into consideration. I mean, some coaches and some teams, some coaching staffs are better at not getting the very high profile recruits, but are very good at developing. So that's where you got to pay attention to the guys that may not be as highly recruited or rankings wise, but are still able to contribute when they really get to whatever school they end up going to.
Yep, player development, very huge.
Connor, what is this fake news here? What is this fake news, Connor? Just kidding. We love. By the way, we
fake
love
news.
Connor.
You mean the truth?
Yeah, Oregon State and Washington State have been doing more with very little for decades. And my hat's off. My hat's off to the coaches that run. Even go back to the Mike Rileys. I mean,
go back to the Jim Sutherlands in the 50s. It's old school. Both
but
these and the
together. He patched together some teams with it. They had TJ Husmanzada, but you would never have heard of the quarterback. I mean, it was just the guys that you put on that field, and they would beat big teams. I see Will. They got you guys. They got us a couple times. They come up and they play ball. And so
Tommy Protho won a Heisman for his team developing a quarterback who, by the way, took them to amazing bowl games and the Final Four as a basketball player before USC ever won any Heismans. So yeah, Beavs and the Cougs have been doing more with less for decades. Go Beavs.
Ryan Leaf, though.
What about
there's an example. He was great at Wazoo.
Yeah. I was talking about the Oregon State quarterbacks. Thank you.
We're done with Oregon State. Those Beavers have had enough attention the last couple of weeks. What about a big one for the Big 12, and not to dismiss D4 and Texas domination of West Virginia. What about Oklahoma State?
Can you say that? Can you say that? Say that one more time, just very slowly. A dominating win over West Virginia.
Poor Joe. No, once is enough. That's the only time you'll probably hear it. What about Oklahoma State over Baylor, getting the revenge? Because that's an important D4 can say. That's an important game in the Big 12.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those jerseys Baylor rolled out. Oh my god.
Yeah, not only that being a big game, but it determines the leader of the Big 12. Kansas. I know Kansas is undefeated, but when it comes down to it, they're going to get steamrolled by one of those teams.
You think?
Oh, yes. I don't feel that great about that, but
I know who's going to steamroll them. Quinn Ewers is going to be back, and there's going to be some revenge extracted, and that revenge is not going to be pretty.
Yeah,
Brandon, you better be here.
You talk about Ohio
State
State
wins again. You better be here, Brandon. If Kansas knocks you off again,
no, Brandon, you better not be on a milk carton if Kansas.
I don't go. I can't fit on a milk carton.
There we go. There it is. That's for you, D4.
He could be back this week. Could be further. I don't know. He was not the healthy option going into the West Virginia game, so I guess we'll just have to, take it by ear until we see him hit the field.
By the way, what's the baby poo green we have on our scheme here? What's with this color?
Is that Michigan State?
I can't block you. I can time out Connor again. I can't time you out. If I could, I would. That was from the Oregon game recap.
Didn't Baylor lose? It's Oregon. That's right. They're green too, huh? That's right.
I guess. Yeah, they're like the fifth green team you think about, though.
Isn't that the color of envy?
I don't think Oregon has a color. Do they, Ben? Do you guys have a color anymore?
Oregon's every color.
We're a damn rainbow at this point. I mean, we've had
just be really careful.
I'm surprised we didn't pull out the pink jerseys for Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, looking too closely, you can guys, cirrhosis of the eye is a real thing, and you can get it from studying those Oregon jerseys really closely. So, wear sunglasses, do something to protect yourself from the Oregon jerseys.
You're asking me to punish Connor for your guys' comments.
And Baylor as well. Baylor, what was with the bananas?
That was some Grey Poupon.
Yeah, that was. Come on, Baylor. Baylor, you guys have great colors. Look at the Packers, and you guys turn into bananas.
Yellow doesn't look good on any. I'm sorry, this is not a
no
yellow. The yellow,
yellow's great on helmets and pants.
Color. Golden color is okay, but not yellow is just too bright. Too bad.
And I know. And no, by the way, in the comments, nobody tell me about the Baylor line because I know about the Baylor line. I know they like their stadium all yellow, but guys, it was bananas. It was literally bananas.
Literally.
How does the Oregon Skittles sound, Ben? You can even NIL into it. You can roll some NIL in the Oregon Skittles. You have so many colors, it would work. No,
taste the rainbow.
I'm thinking if I do that.
Connor, I warned you. That's your third strike, Connor. No.
We love Connor. Connor's family.
I just messed with Connor.
100%.
Yeah, what was with those UPS jerseys, by the way? Good. Yes. Thank you, Connor. Exactly. What was with those UPS jerseys?
Here you go. Well, because Connor is so talkative right now, and we have two Trojans. How about those Beavers getting absolutely destroyed by Utah?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because just like Utah, Oregon State plays incredibly different at home, just like Utah, than they play on the road. Those teams are totally. I don't really worry as much about the Beavers or the Utes on the road, but at home, you go to Rice Eccles, right? You better have your work hat on because you're going to be in trouble. So that's what they ran into. If you go up to Corvallis, again, it's a different Beaver team when you're in their world. Put that way.
Oh, let me write that site down real quick. Hold on.
Too late.
Oh
my God.
So that's your short answer.
Connor's running away from the chat immediately.
Good to see you, Connor.
He's running away.
Yeah, he clicked the link and he's over there now. He clicked the link.
Yeah, I think part of the Beavers thing was they put so much into that USC game and they came up short. Maybe they had that little kind of hangover effect of it. They came out. I mean, they were driving. So
they were jacked for that game. They gave USC all they could handle. Absolutely, yeah. And that environment for such a small crowd. Again, those Pacific Northwest crowds. Even if you go into Seattle fans, right? The Seahawks or the Washington or Autzen Stadium. These are the loudest. I would put those stadiums up with any stadium in the country.
Oh, they are. They are. I mean, Oregon and Washington are by decibels. Washington's number one. I think. I don't know. Oregon's number 2 or number 3.
Clemson's number 2. Sorry.
What? You guys are number 2. Or is Oregon number 3?
I'm gonna need a link, Jordan. I'm gonna need a link to that.
You can go find it. Every single one. It's
the astrophysicist is spoken by decibel. Right.
Oregon has a lot less fan capacity.
Ben, that's what I was just gonna say. The Oregon Stadium only holds 55,000 people, and they're one of the loudest stadiums in the country. Those fans are wild. Yeah, seriously, the Ducks are awesome at home.
And Jordan, I didn't say louder. I put them up there with anyone. I didn't say they're louder than anyone.
Well, I was just talking about the decibel level, the official, the highest recorded. Yeah, it's Washington 1, and then Clemson number 2.
Yeah,
I can't remember what game.
But Jordan, it's only Clemson number 2 because the guy keeps stubbing his toe on Howard's Rock coming down the hill.
Oh yeah, right.
this is
giant. I've stood next to Howard's Rock. It's up on a pedestal and
he keeps trying to jump over it.
Tony, I believe the mausoleum tipped in at about 76.
No, and we're 63rd.
Okay.
The LA Mausoleum is at 63rd.
This is per my sources.
We use the celebrity flash to make up for the people chilling with their cocktails.
Yeah, per my sources, Husky Stadium is 1, Death Valley is 2, LSU Tiger Stadium is 3.
Tiger Stadium 3.
Autzen is 4, Lane Stadium 5, Beaver Stadium 6. Well, it's Penn State Beaver Stadium. Texas A&M, Florida, and Neyland.
Yeah, which is amazing. And
Tony,
as
from now on,
Tony
you
just said,
you got to do it.
You look at that number 4. We literally have like almost half the capacity of some of those stadiums.
No, you literally have half the capacity of some of those
Well,
stadiums.
no, especially like Texas A&M. All that is like literally
half. So they're loud. They're
You know,
crazy.
I've been to a lot of LSU games at night, and it gets really quiet usually after the first quarter when Bama's there. We really had a problem there.
Are those the games where the other team has like red helmets, maybe some numbers on the side? I'll quiet them up real quick.
Now, I'll tell you another team that's not on that list that should be, and it might not be the loudest in decibel, but Mississippi State with them damn cowbells.
Yeah,
That's
manufactured
all game
noise.
long.
I hate that.
Artificial.
Uncle Rico, those are published.
Jimbo's
after
ears
you
are
Google them.
Jimbo's
just
ears are
Google those.
still ringing from those cowbells. Jimbo's ears gotta be feeling it.
The only reason Texas A&M is up there is because Zach and all those male cheerleaders are mocked up and they're really, really loud.
When did Mississippi State officially ban the cowbell during the other team's offensive plays? Was that like 2012, 2013?
Was it that long ago?
That was the SEC who did it, and then they overrode themselves and said, "Nah, they can now play it all the time."
Oh God, yeah, because that it was obnoxious, and then they stopped it for a while, and then.
Guys, King Bagata is making a bold prediction.
Oh wow!
The Bruins.
Really, hold on, wait, King. You really think they're gonna wait? You really think they're gonna lose to USC? I thought you'd have more. I thought you'd have a little more oomph for your team.
That's a great name, by the way. King Vegeta.
King Vegeta.
Yeah, that's a great name.
You guys are gonna have to go Super Saiyan to go 11-1 though. It'll be tough.
They're
level 3 Super Saiyan.
They're assuming a loss to Oregon at Oregon. That's why.
Well, that's a good time because there's been some chat earlier on about our buddy Search in the chat was talking about. Well, let's look at this one. You do that one. That's fine. My favorite. You say Homer is better than. Look at this one right here.
But the problem is they wouldn't be 11-1 if they were that good. Wouldn't they play in the championships, or wouldn't they be like 12-1
or 12 or 11-2
or 11-2? So.
I only say if that was the type of thing they were having, I don't know when UCLA's bye is, but we play UCLA at home after our bye week coming up in 3 weeks. So that would why I would think that would be their loss because we have like a week to prepare.
Jeff, the public school kids aren't as good at math. It's fine.
Ben,
TBM, how about this one?
Just kidding.
Ben, I have news for you. Dan
Lanning. I wouldn't trade 2022 DTR for any other QB in the Pac-12. He played great on Friday, but I remember watching him in a couple previous games where he didn't look as spectacular. So again, do we have maybe another a good DTR, bad DTR? I'm not sure.
I think it is with a lot of his receivers do drop the ball.
I just want to say, Ben, that Dan Lanning had how many months to prepare for Georgia and got beat 49-3.
And David, thank you, David, for helping support the show. We appreciate it. Yeah, Tim always looks good, guys. Tim has the good look.
Yeah.
What is
I'm
wrong
in
with
a I'm in a hotel. God, language. Family
Travel.
show.
You know what? If you were committed, you would have brought the light on the trip.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring all the LED lighting. Yes.
Show some commitment. Show some commitment. Your fans expect more, Ben.
I brought the mic and the webcam. All right.
Okay, that is impressive. That's impressive.
All right.
Meh.
But David, seriously, thank you. We really appreciate it. It's great to have you.
Yes. Thank you, David.
I need some compliments around here once in a while.
But seriously, what about UCLA? Hold on, guys. Seriously, instead of skipping over me, what do you guys think about UCLA? Because obviously they are turning some heads. You know, beginning of the season, I chalked it up as one of our few sure wins, but now it might be maybe one of the most difficult games, if not the most difficult game. I just said it on the rest of our schedule. I know we go to I know where we're going in 2 weeks, and I know we're playing Washington State next week. But with those two, I think that UCLA game is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim. Okay, I see how it is, Tim.
Zach Charbonnet.
Oh, listen, hey, Will, let's talk. Will, I don't know how to say this. At the beginning of the year, if you remember, I said USC is going to go 8-4. Which teams I guarantee they would lose to? There were two teams I guaranteed losses. That was at Salt Lake, at Utah, and Notre Dame at the Coliseum. I flat out said those were losses. Things have changed, Will. I don't know what to say.
Things have changed.
I don't know how to say it to you. I'll leave it there. Sorry.
Marshall. We may not all be Marshall.
I'm just saying, like, is UNC's offense that much better than USC's?
Who?
No, but
I know your defense.
No, but their defense is better significantly.
Yeah, I think the local high school's defense is better, than that USC Chiswick defense. My goodness.
Yeah, and Mike is pointing out Wake Forest. Yeah, Wake Forest would destroy Notre Dame, but no one would live to see it because if I have to listen to any more announcers talk about the slow mesh offense, I will slow mesh slip my wrist. So, like, I don't think I'd survive to see the end of the game.
Hey, listen, okay. Well, first of all, I guess I'll be the one to defend Wake Forest here.
That's not a rip on Wake Forest. That's a rip on TD coverage.
No, they're going to beat them.
Okay. Well, still, they deserve
Jordan, Stanford stole Wake Forest's offense to secretly unleash it, and we got to hear about it every single.
But they don't run it nearly as well.
They do. They don't. They try to run it. I had to talk about it earlier. I was like, I don't know why they have adapted this because it is not working. He gets sacked more than anything off of that.
You have to have an offensive. Well, you have to have a really good offensive line. You've got to have NFL receivers. That Wake has NFL receivers and an NFL quarterback. Stanford has the NFL quarterback.
He is good, but
not many.
But Wake doesn't have a trade.
Not many teams have that Clemson defensive line, but two, like not this year, but last year, right? Didn't you guys just destroy that mesh, right? But then this year, you guys had a little bit of trouble there. I guess it depends on how well their offensive line is.
By the way, Mike Luca, are you a Wake fan? If so, your team's pretty awesome, and I'm really glad that Hartman is doing better.
I've seen him over on over on other channels. He's a good.
Kudos to Wake. Your team is awesome, and your quarterback. We were all thinking about him, and we're glad he's back.
Wake is the second best team in the conference. I'm going out and saying it.
Thank you for the super check, Mike.
Yes.
Mike, your coach actually wanted to go to Notre Dame. Like, he was one of the finalists for the job. So if you think Wake's that much better than Notre Dame, then.
And then he realized that Notre Dame sucks.
Wait, who doesn't know what the mispoint is?
Wait, it's gonna be.
I don't get this the super chat. Who doesn't know the mesh point?
Yeah, I'm not sure who he's talking about, but
who was he talking? Maybe
football fan, but don't even know the mesh point is. I don't know.
Pretty sure we all do, Mike. I'm not sure what did we misspeak somewhere because I didn't hear anybody mess that up.
No, we know what it is. We respect it. We just don't want to hear Kirk Herbstreit talk about it anymore.
Or Stanford
tries to copy it poorly.
Yeah, no. Stanford, stop it.
Yeah, no, the way Wake does it was awesome. The way
Wake is awesome.
is using it, it's almost like blasphemy the way they're using it up north. So
no one can run the claw fence except for Dave Clawson and Warren Ruggiero. So
the Stanford version is hideous.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's not the same.
It sure is an intellectual brutality, as they like to call their old offense.
Yeah, that's down at Rice now. The intellectual brutality moved on to Rice.
Moved on to Rice.
Well, although that offense is better than Iowa's offense.
That's true. That's true.
Well, let's speaking of teams like Iowa.
By the way, is Corey still online with Mark having a counseling session?
Oh God.
I think they're all.
Yeah.
Are they okay?
No, Mark is done.
Private calling now.
I felt bad. I felt bad. I've been feeling for Corey all season.
Well, I don't know why everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the whole Iowa thing, but that was pretty unfair. We've watched that offense. All the people talking about the upset in that game, I was just watching all week going, this is not going to end well. I mean, I don't know what you guys would out of a miracle, they're going to score like 21 points on safeties and pick sixes. That's the only way they had a chance in that game. And people kept talking about how they could see, well, the kinetic magic going to happen. It's like,
As a Michigan fan, I can say that when Iowa scored and then got the ball back immediately, I had PTSD. I've seen these games too many times where Michigan has the lead and they look really good, and then they go out and they just crap the bed.
Iowa is
instantly terrified.
Iowa is the Corvallis of the Midwest.
We've seen those teams as Michigan fans. We've seen that happen, but this is not that Michigan team. We are not that way anymore. This is not how we play.
I
And you
agree,
can see
but
that.
when you've
Like
been
last year and this
preconditioned
year-
for so many years.
No,
But also,
I
like,
hear you. I totally hear you. But
that Kinnick Magic
That
only
happens.
comes out at night. It's usually the night game. That's when Iowa upsets a top 5 team, is when they come in at night. And obviously,
Or 3:30.
without that offense they have now, but
I don't know.
yeah.
Spencer kind of looked pretty decent near the end of the third quarter going into the fourth. I know he had some garbage time numbers, but he had his best game of the season against us.
yeah, but it was all in the fourth quarter.
I don't care. So I put everything up with Michigan is what they did on the field going to beat Ohio State. That's not going to beat Ohio State in November. It's just
I
not.
don't think we put a team
They're-
out there that was going to show what we're going to do to Ohio State, though.
Yeah, but
a lot of season left. We'll see.
there is a lot of season left, but like Ohio State's not going to hold everything back that they have and saving it
No,
for
and
Michigan.
And that's something that I don't really like about Michigan, man. Watching them for so long, we always like to hold our playbook and not open it all the way. We open it up and we do what we need to do, and we like seem to save these plays until we absolutely positively need them. So yeah, no, I agree with you. We need to open that book up and get those plays practiced and down and against other teams, because we need experience behind them plays when we do play Ohio State.
And tinfoil hat time, like I personally believe like Harbaugh puts the fear of God into his quarterbacks. Like if there's anybody within 10 yards of receiver, do not throw that ball at all.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, like watching it, like everyone wanted to give Cade a lot of problems and give him gripe for what happened. But what we saw yesterday was the same system, just add a different guy to it.
Yeah, he was
so
just
I'm
like
a little
Mark
nervous.
was saying earlier. He managed the game. That's all he did. He didn't do anything special. He was basically a field general. That's what he did. I'm waiting for his athleticism to come out, and I wish they would just open that book up and let him do his thing. But I understand why they don't. You know, they let the defense do their thing. Their defense does it, and
And they had an offensive line that was controlling them all day long.
Yeah,
that helped too.
Our offensive line is probably going to win that best offensive line again this year. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of game left.
Well, let's take it to we got Michael coming in here. So let's talk about a couple of the surprises this week. We talked about it briefly, but let's get Michael's take on it. What about those Purdue, the spoiler makers?
Ben hates me.
Crushing
I told
for
him
Minnesota.
Thanks for letting me in. I was able
Purdue,
got it. But I told people before the season started, Purdue, Minnesota this year, are going to be Wisconsin. But the thing I want to ask you guys, because I didn't catch the beginning of the show because I was barking, but I was shocked for you guys about Paul Chris.
Okay,
we can't hear.
That's not just me, right?
Yeah.
No, we can't hear.
Okay.
Yeah, you said something about Paul Chris.
yeah, he was wanting to know what we thought about Paul Chris getting fired.
Yeah, I think that's what he was asking. I think we already covered that.
Yeah, we covered that already.
Yeah,
we can watch the playback.
So,
I was going to say, too, come in, try Michael again, too, if you want. Sometimes going in and out of StreamYard helps a lot. We got, of course, Connor's favorite friend over here, Larry, coming in here. What about Purdue? Like, we were just getting on to that. Minnesota really kind of had that division wrapped up, I think, or was, in charge of it, and they kind of just dropped it, I mean,
was it more of Minnesota dropping it, or was it more Purdue being good today. Or yesterday.
Minnesota couldn't do anything right.
So, yeah. I think Purdue played out of their minds to beat them like they did. Definitely came in with a good game plan, that's for sure. And then I'd say partially Minnesota, partially. I'm going to give Purdue credit on that one. More credit than Minnesota laying an egg. Purdue beat them.
I mean, I'm not going to discount what Purdue did. They did exactly what they had to do to win the game, but Minnesota did kind of shoot themselves in the foot every time they turned around.
Yeah, they did. Anything else on Purdue? Anybody? Will, come on.
I've already
you got
said my
something,
piece
Will.
on it.
Yeah, Will's the
Purdue has the magic to beat ranked teams. I don't know, like in the middle of the season, like they're just a trap game, and they can really win them. Like we saw last year with Michigan State and Iowa. I mean, they're dangerous.
Will, how does it feel that Aiden O'Connell is ranked above your boy in the quarterback rankings?
I mean, Aiden O'Connell's he's a good quarterback. I mean, right now he's better than the Notre Dame quarterbacks. Hopefully, the bye week that'll change. Hopefully, they can bring in Tobias Merriweather and use him more, because I feel like him
He's a
one-on-one
freshman
in the
too,
end
right?
zone
It's the true freshman.
is nasty.
receiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tommy Reese is just the thing that annoys people about Tommy Reese is that he wants to wait until they learn the whole playbook before they use wide receivers. And it's very infuriating to Notre Dame fans, and that's part of the reason why they want Reese gone. Many of Notre Dame fans want Reese gone. So if they could just put in like Merriweather just for at least every 4 plays, I think that'll make the passing offense much better for Notre Dame. So we're hoping that he'll do that at post-bye week.
Hey, Bill, Will, I got a question. If he goes in every 4 plays, wouldn't that make him the punter? No, I'm just kidding.
Kind of.
Sorry, Will.
He's throwing a punch. Is like
That was rough. Just like Kentucky losing me money at fumbling the ball at the end. I put money on Kentucky. I was really happy when they caught the touchdown, and then I saw the flag. I was like, no, not my $20.
So, does Notre Dame catch more strays than anybody?
On Voice of College Football, we do catch the most strays.
What do you guys think of the Ole Miss Kentucky game? Because I mean, Kentucky seemed like they had the opportunity, but then they just totally just screwed it up within the last 4 minutes of the game.
But you got to remember, on plays like that, we have to give the defense credit. A lot of times people say that they screwed up. You know what I mean? That's definitely, well, they have in tennis. I don't really know tennis, but there's forced and unforced errors. That was definitely a forced error, right? I mean, that was a great rush, and that kind of crap's gonna happen. So all credit to their defense stepping up when they did. They probably should have let them go all the way down the field on that big run or that reception. But I mean, when they were down there and when they needed to stop, by hook or crook, they found a way to do it, and they did.
And you look at Kentucky. Kentucky struggled at Florida there for a little while, doing the same thing, shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, that was not the best game Kentucky played yesterday, but you got to give credit to Ole Miss. I didn't think Ole Miss could have a defense like that. Ole Miss defense looked really, really good. And when you think of Ole Miss, all you think about is, let's score 40, 50 points and, get out of there with a 50-40 win, but that defense did stood up, and it did, it played really good and got, like Tim said, it forced the fumble at just the right time to seal the game.
I mean,
Jeff, do you think they can cause you any problems?
Ole Miss? Well, I think they could. Lane Kiffin's one of them you never know about. That defense playing as well as they did yesterday, that's a little bit of a worry, because I know our defense will slow them down. But if their defense can slow our offense down, then it could be, a real battle.
Well, I think one of the underrated parts of Ole Miss's season last season, I know that Jeff, you said you were surprised that Ole Miss's defense played as well as it did. Well, I if you go back and look how Ole Miss played towards the end of last season, they won a lot of games off of their defense. They did not score a ton of points. I think in their last, I think after it was maybe week 8 or week 9, I think they scored over 30 points a couple, only a few times. And really had to rely on their defense. They won some tight slugfests to get to 10 games, and their pass rush has been one of the better units in the SEC, and I think that's kind of paid dividends as Jackson Dart is still kind of feeling his way out in this offense. It's not they're not completely cohesive yet, and so Ole Miss is their defense has kind of had to pick up the slack, and you kind of saw that. And I think it was also a product of, I think Kentucky has taken a massive step back on the offensive line. That's not just from this week. That's been a recurring theme when I've watched them, is they are not as good on the offensive line as they have been in the past couple of years. A lot of that is due to the draft and just in graduation and stuff. And so they're that unit still is has a lot of work to do. And when you have Will Levis, back there, I think he's buying time and making them look a little bit better at times, but they have some issues there.
So I guess one of the other things is, since we're talking about this, it's not really college football related, but it's been brought up the last few days, especially by some specific Kentucky fans. Is Will Levis the number 1 overall quarterback draft pick this next year?
No, and it's not even close.
No, and not worthy of discussion either.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I had to bring it up because some people have shot it out there. I'm like, I don't know.
Can't deny his arm talent though. I understand the physical traits, the arm talent is there, but it just he's not. I don't see it. I don't see him as the number 1.
It's really not worthy. It's really not. I mean, I love him eating bananas, but it's really not worthy of the oxygen.
Right.
I don't love him putting his mayonnaise in his coffee, though. That's
we're gonna move on. Then we'll move on very quickly to our last real highlight, and we'll be talking about this maybe even more next week, depending on how next weekend's game goes. Come on, all of us got to just give some quick love. Kansas 5-0. It was a sloppy game against Iowa State. It definitely was. It was not a pretty game. That's for sure.
Yeah. They haven't, other than West Virginia, they haven't played anybody. I don't want to hate on the Kansas train because it's super exciting. But
I honestly that win over Duke is not is looking pretty good.
Jordan.
Hey, you can say that all you want.
Who could win the Coastal?
Duke has looked legitimately impressive in all their other games. They absolutely, I mean, they're beating teams that handily. Northwestern, Virginia yesterday was never in doubt.
Those are some terrible football teams.
They are terrible football teams.
I love Northwestern. I love UVA. I almost wanted to go to UVA, but that is a terrible football team.
But Duke is. Listen, you guys aren't. I mean, you're saying it's Duke, but part of being Duke is losing to bad teams. They're not just beating bad teams now. They're blowing them out. Duke has exceeded their win total, their preseason win total by 2 wins already. I'm not saying Duke is some world beater, but that is a pretty solid win, I think.
Whatever beautiful Duke girl has wooed Jordan with your amazing talents.
Actually, one of my exes goes to Duke, so no. Actually,
I'm teasing you.
If there's anything, that's a deterrent, not a.
I'm teasing you.
Not an incentive, but still, no. I'm just saying. I know Kansas hasn't played great, but Kansas also beat Houston. I know Houston has not played very well, but they have a good roster. I'll say that Houston still has a good roster, but they're not coached particularly well. But no, I think, but either way, Kansas is they've looked good. I don't think they're amazing. I don't think they're going to win the Big 12, but I think that we should give some credit. I don't think we need to trash on them too much.
Yeah, well, now Kansas will show a lot because now we have 2 5-0 teams going against each other, TCU and Kansas. And TCU is another kind of one of those surprise stories because I think people expected them to take a step back, even though they got Sonny Dykes to come in from SMU. And they just embarrassed Oklahoma. So this next week, this could be like a shootout game because neither team has like the greatest defense in the world. Like it's an adequate defense, but it's not like they're not world beaters over there. So this could be like a 55-52 type of game or higher. I mean, who knows?
Well, Kansas defense showed up against Iowa State. They only allowed 11 points, so if they show up again, could be another win.
Mm-hmm. I did like the chat.
Mike has summed it up really well here.
I like the chat that you had up from Roger Dodger about UCLA should have a food truck out in front of their stadium to get more people. I tell you what, you find a good taco truck, you'll have a lot of people there.
Well, yeah. Love me some taco trucks. what? Don't look at it like that.
Put Kansas in the
No, I think Kansas is going to be. I don't know. I think they might win 9 games this year. I might be bold, but
Connor, don't make me time you out again.
I'll time him out. I think he's just trolling.
No, don't time out Connor. Connor's our people, and Connor's not. It's just hummus.
That's good though.
What the hell? How's the
charcuterie board?
The charcuterie.
Hey, it's not Uperfood. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Uperfood, get out of here. I'm a Uper man. Leave me alone.
I'm not a Uper. I've only been to the UP like twice in my life.
I live in the UP, Tony.
Do you? Nice.
I'm a Uper. I just signed off on a house I'm buying. I just bought it.
Congrats.
Right on Lake Michigan, man. Beautiful.
Oh, it's awesome. It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, it is.
Bit cold. Right across the street from Bigfoot.
Hey, he's out there somewhere.
I mean, also, guys. Speaking of, here's a history moment that might somehow relate, given the events of today. When Michigan and Ohio had a war over Toledo, Wisconsin was the one who lost land.
Yes, they did.
They did.
We told Toledo.
I don't know. It just seems relevant today with Paul Chris. Sorry.
Yeah, that old Toledo. We were like, you can have it. You can have Toledo. We gave it to Ohio. We were like, you can have Toledo.
Yeah, if there was a new Toledo, if there was a new Toledo war, both sides would fight over making the other one try to take it.
All right,
on that note, sorry.
Is there anyone surprised?
Oh, yeah, it's Michigan humor.
Very good. Is there anyone surprised or missing? You think someone's missing from the new AP poll? Like, we have a bunch of new additions, obviously, like UCLA, Kansas, TCU, a bunch of teams dropping out, of course.
There's a few too many, like, which overrated SEC team should we pick today? Right. Like, it's a little bit like an Uno game. It's like, who lost? Let's put another one in. Here's another one.
It's really strange. It's strange to me because I wanted, and the SEC thing is a good point because it's strange to me that LSU is ranked, and they dropped Florida State out for losing to Wake Forest, and Florida State beat LSU. They have the same record.
Yeah, in Louisiana.
The only thing.
They beat them in New Orleans,
right? And the only thing is that Florida State lost more recently, and that's why. And LSU won that week.
But LSU won over a bad team. Like,
well, listen,
they had to fall back into that game.
Jordan, as a Trojan fan, you can ask Jeff. The AP doesn't care about head-to-head. The head-to-head wins doesn't mean anything when it comes to rankings.
No, what the ranking, a lot of people don't know this, but what the rankings are is you have SEC on your shoulder. If you got SEC on your shoulder, that gives you extra votes. Because right now we have 7 teams in the top 25. And in all honesty, there's probably 4 deserving of it, maybe 5. You can make an argument, but that's it.
Maybe like 3.
Yeah, I'm going to back you up on that. I'm going to back you up on this. And what started it really was you had Georgia and Alabama. Great, fine. We got that.
They're awesome.
Florida beat Utah jumped up. Kentucky beat Florida. They jumped up. Florida dropped a little bit. Now Ole Miss beat Kentucky, and then Aggies somehow held on, and Mississippi State beat them, and the trend continues, kind of like a revolving door to a degree.
See, what the thing is, the only thing I care about is the Mark Rogers top 25 that actually makes sense. If you guys have not checked that out, the team that is at number one is really interesting. I think you guys will like it. And
I liked it a lot more. I liked it a lot more last week than I like it this week. But
that's a shame.
Yeah, I know you guys. Mark does a really, really cool thing. For those of you guys who don't know, where he actually rates teams purely on-field achievement, nothing else. No hype, no nothing, just purely on-field achievement. It's actually really cool.
Right.
And I think it's really well done. So check it out.
And again, it's a lot of hate on it, but it makes a lot of sense. If you go by the criteria that he ranks them, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I mean, I would say, I'm not going to spoil it, but like number 25, 100% on board with that. And I think it should have been in the actual AP poll this week.
Yeah.
Dave, really quick, Dave, no, you're an Alabama fan. You and Georgia have won national championships. Tennessee, LSU lately, Kentucky, Arkansas, half past never. Like, I mean, these teams contribute nothing to the national picture. You guys win the national championships. Stop letting them ride your coattails.
Right.
Like, they're your coattails. Do not let them ride your coattails and pretend that they're anything more than more mediocrity.
100%.
You guys are the national champions because your teams are some of the greatest teams in history.
Mark is always on it, but here's my question. Syracuse is 7. Please, someone sell me on that one.
Because they've beaten like a bunch of Power 5 teams.
Undefeated.
They're undefeated. So that
Ralph,
carries a lot of
LSU did there. They won 1 year, and then they turned themselves into such a dumpster fire that a year and a half later they had to fire their coach yet again.
I agree with Serge. I agree with Serge.
They're the essence of roller coaster. They're terrible right now.
You guys I'm gonna call Mark tomorrow and ask him about that one. You guys didn't sell me on that at all. A lot of teams have won against Power 5 schools.
No, but multiple. I think they have. Like,
don't answer your phone. Don't answer your phone.
I'll hit. You're right, James Madison is going to beat people as they start playing more teams. They're going to be like App State, and Old Dominion, but more powerful.
Which is
they're going to shock more people.
It's their first year in the FBS, but they can't compete for the conference or a bowl game.
Oh, bowl game, yeah. It's a terrible rule. I don't know why they still
go unbeaten and not qualify for anything because it's their first year or whatever.
Their transition, yeah, it's a stupid rule. I've hated it for the longest time, but I haven't seen any really convincing argument for why the NCAA still has that rule in place, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. I mean, really.
I just realized how did we go this entire show without talking about the only top 10 matchup from this past weekend?
You're on the show, Jordan.
Well, it was two overrated teams in a lackluster game.
A Texas fan talking about an overrated team is that's really interesting. But
that's fired.
Okay, we've been overrated for how many years? You know, all the Clemson, Sunshine Pumpers. I think DJ's the second thing since sliced bread now.
Sunshine Pump. I mean, at least we've had Sunshine. His name was Trevor Lawrence. He's a good player.
Yeah, they did. It's fair.
Texas hasn't had that in.
Hell, your quarterback now.
We got the mother. Fuck Trevor Lawrence.
What did Connor do?
Oh.
Yeah, it's a family show here, man.
I know. I've been watching my mouth. Sheesh, D4.
Yeah, I'm holding back. I'm an Army guy, man. I cuss every other word.
By the way, North Carolina State versus Florida State will lead to a downward spiral for one of these teams. Clemson going on a run. Yeah, actually, that's probably a pretty solid prediction.
Shout out to DeAndre. He's one of my co-hosts on the Clemson Voice of College Football channel.
Oh, is that DeAndre?
Yep, that is DeAndre.
Oh, DeAndre, you're awesome. I always love when you call in.
Yeah.
I love that. That's definitely.
But yeah, no, just kind of talking about that game. Clemson is I think they established themselves as the class of the ACC. I know there was a lot of, there's a lot of talk about whether there was, this was the changing of the guard. Was NC State going to go in and, break their home winning streak and, take control of the division? But, Clemson has probably played their two toughest division opponents in back-to-back weeks, got the wins, and now they pretty much control their own destiny. So, and I think you're seeing this team kind of coalesce into a true college football playoff contender. The defense played how we expected them, to play going into the year, and DJ continues to, lead this offense, and it's been a treat to see, because it was in doubt at times, during the offseason and coming off of last year. So, and I still think NC State's a good team, but you saw Clemson was, they controlled the lines of scrimmage, and they got a lot of pressure on Devin Leary, and so I'm a little surprised that Clemson didn't move up at all, considering they're the only team in the top 10 with 2 wins over ranked teams, but it is what it is.
I was totally kidding about
it. Might be what
Clemson.
you said this last week, Jordan. You said that the NC State being ranked so high was just media push for your game coming up. Maybe they saw that as that case, and they were like, "We're not buying it."
Well, that's kind of how it's been for Clemson. It's this team is going to beat Clemson, and then when Clemson beats them, it's like, they were overrated. So I'm used to it at this point. But hey, NC State's a good team, really good on the line of scrimmage, really strong defense, and Clemson was just better. And there were a lot of people predicting that NC State was going to be the best team in the conference, and it's not. Turns out that's not the case. So
yeah, I was totally kidding. I was totally kidding about Clemson. I love me some Clemson. I love me some Jordan Bowman.
I love me some D4. I love me some Texas.
Oh my God, this is so lovely. I feel. Romance continues.
We're getting all sappy on here.
Yeah. With search, people talking about Utah getting slept on. They are 11th in the country. I'm so confused. If you want to talk about Pac-12 team getting slept on, I have one for you.
Yeah, he thinks his Bruins are being slept on.
Yeah.
And they kind of are, but again, Serge, you have to realize you guys have one good win. You guys have one good win, and then that other stuff.
South Alabama.
We'll see how you guys do against Utah, and then that should sort it all out, right?
Yeah,
that should be the.
You guys, Zona Tucson just made a good prediction. He says the things are going to get wild in the desert.
Yeah, they could. That was something in the game recap for the Ducks. I was like, we go to Arizona next week. I've always been scared of that game, and we don't know how these teams are going to compete against each other in our conference, because we've played some similar teams, but every team plays each other differently. We just don't know how we're going to do, so it'll all play itself out in the end.
That's why I love college football. Every weekend, you don't know what's going to happen. Like this weekend, headed into this weekend, I don't know. I'm a Michigan fan. I hate playing Indiana. I don't care if we have to go to their stadium or they come to ours. I hate playing Indiana.
Well, speaking of teams coming to the other team, so Serge was talking about the underrated Bruins. We've had Larry waiting here, so you guys got a big matchup with the Bruins on Saturday. Sell me on the fact that you guys are not the same team, or you are the same team on the road that you are at home.
Utah?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I think they're doing better on the road. I mean, they went down to Arizona State and handled them pretty good. And we've had Tempe's been our resurf that USC has had. It's like for some reason we go to Arizona, the whole state, whether it's the Wildcats or the Sun Devils, and we've always struggled down in the desert. And I don't know. I have a feeling the team's just mentally a little bit better this year. They did play pretty good at Florida. Should have won the game. Hopefully their road woes are behind them. They do have DTR's number. If you go back and look at his games, his worst games ever in college football are against the University of Utah. So for some reason, Utah has his number.
Yeah, I wish you guys had Devin Lloyd this year because again, I'm just getting these visions of Charbonnet and DTR running like they do all over the Rose Bowl. And if you guys are going to have, I believe you guys have a chance to, well, you won't be upsetting them, but to win that game, I think you guys have to slow both those guys down. And I don't know, how is your linebacker play? Got any better?
It's getting better. They're starting to gel a little bit better. The biggest key is actually Cole Bishop. He's 6'3", 205, and he's a strong safety. So he plays that free safety, linebacker, strong safety. And so he's actually, when it comes to run stopping, he has like a 90 PFF grade. And so he's been one of the biggest parts of the defense gelling. And Utah's defense is getting better every week. They're getting really good. So I think they're going to lock down, who is it, Boa, or who's the one receiver for UCLA?
Bobo?
Bobo.
Yeah.
Love me some
Bobo.
Bobo.
He's really good, but they're going to take Clark Phillips and they're going to lock him down.
Yeah, they missed Dulcich and they missed that guy.
They're
I forgot
missing
the guy that went up to Oregon.
They're missing offensive line guys from last year. They're missing defensive linemen from last year. They're missing all of their receivers. I don't know.
You're thinking of Kyle Phillips.
Yeah, they're missing Kyle Phillips, Dulcich, Coda went back to Oregon.
That's what I meant.
His 3 top receivers are gone. He got the Boa kid back or whatever, and he's an excellent player. But Utah has a true lockdown corner that they can put on an island. I mean, what did he have? He had 3 picks this Saturday and a pick 6 against Oregon State. So.
Yeah, and you guys slowed. I mean, Grant Fenwick's not as fast, but he's as big as Charbonnet. Is the problem with Charbonnet? He's big and he's fast and he's agile. So that's going to be a hell of a challenge.
And
they
that
shut
line.
They shut him down last year. Can I give you a little? So Devin Lloyd didn't play the first half last year against UCLA because he was out for targeting. And they actually stopped Charbonnet without Devin Lloyd last year. So they're gonna make DTR beat us with his arm, and they're gonna lock down the number 1 receiver. So,
well, as Search has let us know, Larry, DTR 2022, especially if you're watching that game, he was throwing darts. So he's making better decisions because bad DTRs are guys just dropping the ball in the backfield and throwing interceptions. But it looks like he's good DTR. So you guys might have your hands full. And that Bobo guy, he's tall. I didn't realize how tall he was. He's a big, fast receiver.
He was Duke's entire offense when he was there. So yeah,
DTR is playing when Zach and that offensive line opens up them holes like he does. DTR is playing a lot better when he has that offense, when he has that running back, that level.
Utah's going to have 7 guys within 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they're going to pressure him and they're going to force him to throw. So if he can have a good throwing game, I like their chances. But if DTR, I don't know. I haven't seen him go up against a defense that has him schemed out good and does great. I just haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, that hurdle was sick.
As Alex just said, that and don't let him move and your defenders take each other out.
Washington's defense is, I mean, this is their first year together. Like, they're a bunch of newbies. Like, Washington's defense, especially, that was their first game away. I didn't doubt UCLA beating Washington. As we now see that Michigan State is not that good. So Wisconsin, Wazoo, and Tim, and I've said it to Tony, Wazoo is going to get killed by Caleb Williams. You watch, he's going to have over 400 yards passing and over 100 yards rushing. I'm telling you, I watched that game.
From your lips to God's ears, amen.
We have a
If
dinged
you
up
go back and watch that game,
right guard. I don't know about that.
Just watch that game, and you tell me if you had a mobile quarterback, what would you do to Wazoo? What offense has Wazoo played? They haven't played. Their defense isn't what you think it is, Tim. They haven't played an offense yet. You guys are
the mighty Oregon Ducks.
Whoa, yeah. I was about to say Oregon lit them the fuck up.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oregon lit them up. USC is better than Oregon offensively, and it's not close. Sorry.
Yeah, watch your mouth, Ben.
I know. I've been watching.
What makes you say
Larry, I like more every day.
What makes you say different this year compared to last year? And maybe Chris could help me in the chat. I don't know the Washington transfer who got cleared. He was at Washington, and Washington wouldn't clear him, but he's playing. He's a pass rusher. He's at UCLA, and that dude is really good. And so we know they can. Plus, as a USC fan, I know they can run the ball. So I've seen their offense. But Larry, what you really should worry about is this dude is a dude. Latu, that's his name. This guy, you watch. He's gonna be in your backfield more than your tailback. This guy is just insane. So I still think that the Utes win. I actually do. But because I'm a USC fan. No, I actually think you guys do win. I still think you guys, don't proven otherwise, are the best team in the Pac-12. So, but it's gonna be a great game. I think it'd be very close.
I think
that UCLA offensive line. I think it can come down to that.
To whose offensive line?
UCLA. Their offensive line.
Yeah, it always has. It always has come down. And I don't know what it is with Chip Kelly's scheme, but Utah has just really had Chip Kelly's number.
Yeah, they have.
They sack the quarterback a lot. They just, statistically, UCLA has their worst games against Utah, and it doesn't matter what stadium they play in. So,
I mean, we're all going to see it. I think it's going to be a really, really good game.
If DTR is on with his throwing game, I think it'll be a close game. But if he's not close to on, I think it's double-digit loss.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's not on the Pac-12 network. Please tell me it's not on the Pac-12.
Oh, thank God it's not.
No, it should definitely not that.
Did we?
If UCLA can establish a run game in that, then you're going to have some problems. If you guys can shut down Charbonnet and the offensive line, then DTR will probably run around in circles and he'll have problems. He'll probably throw a couple picks. But I think you're going to have to concentrate more on shutting down that run, because that run basically opens up DTR. Like if they can run that ball, then DTR he's wide open. He knows what he can do. So
did we address the super chat?
No, not yet. I was waiting for us too.
Yeah.
All right. Are we done with UCLA?
Yes.
I know. Hold on, Chris. Are we done with UCLA? Chris, let's make sure we get okay. All right.
No,
I think we're done.
We're done. We're done. Ignore Chris. No.
Hey, DeAndre. Actually, DeAndre, I agree. I'm a Michigan fan. I grew up in Michigan. I love Michigan. Their schedule is weaker than there are actually Division III schools in Michigan that probably have a tougher schedule than Michigan has played. And I feel okay completely shredding Michigan on that. Shame on the Michigan athletic director, because they canceled a game against UCLA in the Rose Bowl this year that would have been awesome. And they replaced them with I forget which of their trash cupcakes, if it was Colorado State or Hawaii, and they canceled that. That was the wussiest, dumbest, worst, most pathetic move Michigan I've ever seen. Michigan, that was cowardly.
Shame.
Absolute cowardly.
Shame.
And I'm a fan. Shame on you, Michigan, for canceling that great game.
Family show here.
God, that hurt. Oh, man.
I'm sorry. And that's not a rip on Michigan, because Michigan's awesome. They have a great team. That would have been an epic game in the Rose Bowl. Ward Manuel, that's a Ward Manuel. You are cowardly. That's not a rip on Harbaugh and the Michigan team and JJ. Can you guys imagine DTR versus JJ in the Rose Bowl? That's what we were supposed to have.
That would have been beautiful, man.
It would have been awesome.
That would have been beautiful.
It would have been so cool.
Tony, you are almost as passionate about that topic as Joey is against Dana.
It's true. It's true. It's true. All right. I kept thinking about that while watching that game, and I was like, why did we not get JJ versus DTR? Because wuss. That's why.
I don't know what's going on with their athletic. Like, why?
Word manual. That was terrible.
What the? Yeah, we do. Obviously, out of all teams in the country right now, Michigan definitely has the easiest schedule.
And that's not a rip on Michigan. They have a great team.
Yeah,
you guys have a great team.
Like we're doing what we need to do against everybody, but God, playing Hawaii and Colorado State, it's like, what the hell? It's like we're playing preseason NFL games. That's basically what we're doing right now. And we just finally played our first NFL game against Iowa. I guess you could take it to Maryland too. I mean, Maryland is a good team.
Yeah, well, and as Chris points out, UCLA pocketed a $1.5 million check for that.
Yeah,
which they turned around. They had a frantic and guys, UCLA did something actually kind of cool with that. They had to turn around and frantically schedule somebody. They couldn't find anybody to fill that, and they went and got 2 HBCUs from the SWAC, and they had the first ever HBCU team playing in the Rose Bowl. And they brought in Alabama State, and they had because the Alabama State band is like incredible, and they're so famous. And they had the Alabama State band. They got televised on the Pac-12 network. I actually don't think the UCLA band did, but they showed the Alabama State band at halftime, which is really cool. UCLA turned that into something positive.
Well, they paid for the travel, right, Tony?
Yeah. The UCLA picked up the whole tab for all the band and all the travel and everything, which was really cool.
That's cool. But yeah, no, that would have been awesome to play UCLA. So, I mean, to go against Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet used to play for Michigan, so hell, that would have been a great game, definitely. I mean, can't argue against it. And it sucks. We've got this guy calling the shots here, canceling a game like that. Like, that's like canceling Notre Dame.
Hey, Michael, really quick. UCLA and USC can't finish both undefeated because they play each other. UCLA plays Oregon and Utah. Utah plays, and obviously Utah plays Oregon. So they're going to play each other.
Yeah, it's absolutely impossible. We could all potentially tie with like a loss or two.
Being the Pac-12,
it's impossible.
We'll have 2 losses, and that'll be left by the playoffs.
I was going to respond to it.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah. Well, that's a great break point here.
Thank you for the 1.5 million.
I have a question. What happens if Utah beats USC and Oregon, and that's their only losses in the Pac-12? Who's going to the championship game? Say Utah wins out, and the only loss.
The tiebreaker is rank. Is CFP rank is the tie. If it comes down to tiebreaker, so it's number of wins in the Pac-12, and the tiebreaker, the ultimate tiebreaker is college football playoff ranking.
But wait, did you say Utah beats both USC and UCLA? USC and UCLA play each other. I think it's head to head. Then it goes to total rank.
No, Oregon.
But Tony, do they really go to rankings since we don't rank Pac-12 teams?
I heard you wrong.
There you go.
Okay,
exactly.
Jeff with the jokes, man. Jeff is always.
I like it, Jeff. I like
locked and loaded.
I like it. Sorry, I missed that. It goes to head to head, but there's no head to head. Then it goes to highest ranking in the CFP.
Michael's saying that is stupid. Why is that stupid? It makes a lot of sense, actually. Conference just put it in place. I think it's a really good idea. What it's designed to do is it's designed to prevent so that the ultimate tiebreaker. Again, I think it is head to head if head is available. But it's saying if head to head is not available, then ranking of the team. I think it's a great idea.
You know what's stupid was going to 12 teams. We kept it at 10. You did the old round robin like the Pac-12 did, where literally everyone played everyone, and we knew exactly who the champion was. That was the way to go. I think divisions.
I'm glad we have Utah. Colorado seems to have been a mistake.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not talking about any individual school. I'm just saying that now we're talking about with the Big 12 going to 20 or 20, what are these season pods, and you playing some teams once every 3 years. I think that's stupid. I like that when you had, again, 10 teams in the conference, everybody plays everyone. You have 3 out of conference games. That was how it should have been done. There, off.
I agree. I 100% agree. I missed the round robin. We played everyone every year. The Pac-12 at least has done decent, where it's like we have a 2-year gap, but then we keep doing it. But now getting rid of divisions, at least they're going to take the top 2 teams, not North and South, because let's be honest, for a few years there, it was just the North. And so one of those teams that was probably the best got kind of, screwed out.
They got more than kind of shafted. They got totally shafted.
There were a lot of Oregon-Stanford games where it should have been a rematch. But then we had that rematch thing.
Yeah. So we're coming up here immediately. I even sent a chat about it. I was like, we're coming up on over an hour and a half, and we're going to go 2 hours. So we are. And let's take a round robin here. Tim and Tony, let's start. Let's look at your game next week, your opponent real quickly, and we're going to go around with like D4, Will, Jordan, everyone. Just look at next week. What do you expect from your team next week?
We expect a heck of a game with Wazoo. Wazoo is a good team. And for Wazoo fans, or anybody who's interested in college sports, on Tuesday on this same channel, we're actually having the chancellor from Washington State, the CEO of the campus, is going to be coming on to do a special CEO live chat about helping preview our game, which will be really fun, and then also talking about what it's like to actually run an athletic department, what it's like to hire a coach. So you guys are talking about all this stuff about the hiring coaches today. She just did that last year when they hired Jake Dickert and did obviously a fabulous job. So it's going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to hearing her take on that and then seeing the big game against the Cougs.
Yeah, there was a reason I picked 2 teams. And by the way, Will, this goes into what I said to you. I was kind of joking around because USC is razor thin on both lines. As a matter of fact, we're down. We lost Romello Height for the year as our rush end. We've had our left tackle's been injured pretty much all season with dings and nicks, and he's been held out of games. He's still not 100%. Our right guard was held out because he's hurt, and we don't have the kind of replacements. We're very thin. So if we were 100% healthy, I would feel very confident against Wazoo. I'm still confident. I think we might probably be a double digit. I'm not sure anyone's seen the line yet. I think that we do win that game, but it's gonna be a hell of a fight if we're missing linemen.
I'll go on to D4, but I will agree with you and Tony and Tim. Wazoo will go and play. They're going to come at you. They're going to try to punch you in the face like they did.
They always do. I have so much respect for Wazoo. Like, I really do. I can't salute Wazoo enough. I mean, they do more with less, and I don't say that condescendingly. I say that like always worried about them because they have some good teams.
Look, Rolovich was a great hire. We're not going to get into that whole situation or but promoting Dickert was a great choice by Washington State at this point in time. So there's no complaints there, even for me as a Duck fan, because Wazoo's a nightmare sometimes. D4, Brandon.
Yeah, we play that team Choklahoma.
I heard that one.
That's the Wibble Wobbly. That's right.
Yeah, it's the Red River Rivalry.
The Red River.
But should be a good game. Both teams coming in at 3-2. You never know. You never know what you're going to get in a rivalry game like this. It doesn't matter if one team's ranked number 1 and other team's not ranked. You just never know what you're going to get in a game like this. Definitely excited for it. I hope Dylan Gabriel is okay from that nasty hit that he took against TCU. But, I guess we'll see whose defense sucks the worst in this game. And hopefully we come out on the right end of it.
Should be a good one, though. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Hell yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I would have to say Oklahoma's is looking the worst. At this point, That's 2 weeks in a row for them. It's not been pretty.
Their
Dylan
issue is they
Gabriel
can't
out?
stop the run. Here's the thing: they can't stop the run, and they're having issues. I was listening to Bruce Feldman, and he said that they're like something like 107th against giving up running plays of more than 10 yards. They're like 107th in the country, and so I'm not sure. D4, do you guys have a running back?
Yeah, we got two. One of them just happens to be one of the best backs in the country.
Yeah, that guy.
His name
He might
is
be a problem
Bijan.
for them.
His
He
name
might
is
have a
Bijan Robinson, and
He may be
I
a
thought
big
that was
problem.
I thought that was just a mustard that's supposed to be delicious.
But they will be angry, man. That's a rivalry game, and I know it's cliche, but I would think with that one especially, anything can happen. So
Good. I don't think it's gonna.
Will, what you got? What do the Irish have coming up? Oh, you got BYU this week. That is right.
We must defend the faith and defend the volleyball players, as I said last week. This is very important social justice issue, Catholic social teaching here. So,
Cheers,
Your
for old
religious
Notre Dame.
schools going to Sin City.
yeah.
Catholics versus
Your
the
religious
Mormons.
schools going to Sin City.
Oh,
Okay.
But I feel like we should beat them on. I feel like both of our lines are better. I mean, BYU didn't show me much against Utah State or Oregon. They did show me something against Baylor, but I don't know. Like 2 bad performances, 1 good performance. Jordan Hall
Will,
is.
do they have Puka Nacua back? The receiver? BYU?
Not yet. I don't think they got Romney back.
Yeah.
Last game finally for the first time, but I don't think Nakua is back yet.
But yeah, I feel like our O and D line should do very well again. From what I've seen of BYU, they do have a good quarterback in Jordan Hall, but I feel like our running backs and Michael Mayer will just pound it away, and I think we'll be able to do pretty well on offense. Hopefully, our receivers will show up as well. Lorenzo Salles had his best game against UNC, and we need to see more of that. So, yeah, I think this should be a comfortable 2-score win. I know Mark says I should be more nervous. Maybe when I look into it, I'll be more nervous, but I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confident.
Go Gold Domers.
Cheers for old Notre Dame.
Yep.
That's fair. Jordan, what about those Tigers?
Yep. BC week should be interesting. They're coming off of a probably their best performance this year. Really, gutsy win over Louisville. They've had a lot of adversity. Especially along the offensive line, a lot of injuries. But they had a really good performance yesterday. So it'll be really interesting. Going up to Chestnut Hill is always it's always a weird kind of trip because you don't really know what to expect. I'm sure none of you guys know this, but Clemson and Boston College have a rivalry trophy. It's called the O'Rourke McFadden Trophy. It's been awarded every year since 2008, named after 2 starting quarterbacks back in the leather helmet era, Charlie O'Rourke and Banks McFadden for Clemson. It's weird. I don't know why, because the schools really have nothing to do with each other, but it's technically considered a rivalry, but I feel pretty good. I feel confident about Clemson, especially on the defensive line to, neutralize Dracovic and passing attack. Just as long as you have eyes on Zay Flowers and, keep him in check, they should be all right. I'm confident that the offense will continue to build on the performances through 5 weeks. So, should be a tune-up game before they go to Tallahassee and play Florida State. That'll be an interesting one.
And if you're a Clemson fan, Boston's a really fun city to go visit. So Clemson fans, think about going there. It's actually a cool place to visit.
It's a quiet, and Chestnut Hill is it's a quiet little venue. I mean, the fans it's not like the fans don't show up, but it's like, I don't know. It's a really relaxed vibe. It's always they're nice people. They're not these BC fans, but I can't say the same for other New England sports fan bases. But
shout out to Larry on this one.
Yeah, Larry Pilgrim, if you're out there,
Larry Pilgrim, go Utes.
If you're out there somewhere, Larry Pilgrim, thank you for the.
Larry, where are you? Where are you? I mean,
Larry's awesome.
We're hitting you, Larry. Holy shit.
Hey, watch him
So
out.
Jordan, was that a prediction for a win or
What?
just being very pessimistic about this game?
I think he's calling it.
What?
Before.
Oh, what? Over BC? The BC game? Yeah, no, I think it's a win.
If Louisville had messed up, BC be like 1-4 right now. I think that Clemson's going to win this game. Yeah,
just making sure. We're just making.
I said
sure
I said it'll be a nice tune-up game before they go down to Tallahassee. So I thought that implied. I think
Jordan's channeling like early '90s Lou Holtz. You know, when he used to be like, "Oh, Navy. I don't know what we're gonna do with Navy coming to town. It's gonna be tough."
No, I didn't say it was going to be tough. I just said it's always interesting. That's all I said. And BC's actually played Clemson close the last few years. So
BC has some surprises coming. Usually, they always do.
Yeah. They're always good for a surprise performance every year.
Definitely.
Yeah, just the main Black Bears. They know all about it. I think that's their only win.
All right, what do we got? What do we got from Michigan coming up?
All right, so I've said it before. It's Indiana. We all know Indiana. I personally, through my time as a Michigan fan, I hate playing Indiana because it's like we used to go into overtime almost every year with these guys when we never should be in overtime. The game should have been handled. So I'm going to make a prediction on this. I do hate playing Indiana. We are going to play at Indiana. We are going to come away with a dub. I think the offensive line is going to continue to dominate. Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. Blake Corum's not going to rush for 30. He's not going to touch the ball 30 times this weekend, even though he has the last 2 weekends. Donovan Edwards is back. He didn't really show much this last game, but he's going to get more in the mix, and Donovan Edwards is a beast. He played quarterback when he was in high school, so this guy's got skills. And the thing with Blake Corum, man, he's like Michael Hart. I'm sure you guys all remember Michael Hart. He's a really small dude. He finds and he wait. Like you can watch all the games with him. He will literally wait for that hole to open. It almost looks like he stops. He'll see that vision he has, and then he just explodes. He's gone. So I'll always be worried about playing Indiana, always. But we're gonna go there. We're gonna get a dub. I believe JJ. I think we're gonna finally allow him. Well, it's not like we're gonna allow him. We have allowed him to throw the ball down the field. He's just missing these guys by like 2 yards, 3 yards. I think he's going to finally dial that shit in. Oh, sorry. He's going to dial that in. He's going to start hitting them wide open guys running down the field. And I think we'll dominate on defense. And I want to say one thing, too. Mike Morris, he's a defensive end. His sister is... I think she's the first female. I don't know what you would call it. She's a coach for Michigan. I can't remember her name offhand, but she's doing a really good job in my opinion.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is a great story.
If you go back and you guys can look it up and look at the story about her. She was a huge basketball player. I can't remember where she played, but she was really good. And then she just wanted to be a coach for college football. And she got the opportunity here at Michigan, and she is doing a wonderful job. Like my hat's off to her. I love watching her. She gets in the players' faces like, come on, like, yeah, I love it. So yeah, we got Indiana this weekend. Let's see. Prediction 38-17 Michigan.
I think that's pretty reasonable. Indiana is not looking good, but You never know what you're going to get.
They just always Indiana just always for some reason against Michigan. They show up and they all play like the best game of their lives.
It's the Fighting Allens. I mean, what do you
can't get. I hate it. Like it. I get when we play Indiana, I get so nervous. Like at the kickoff, I'm like, oh my god. And then once it gets close to the end of the game, if we're not dominating it, I'm like, these guys will score in a heartbeat. It's just something they have. They got that kryptonite for Michigan. This is what it is. But I think Michigan has finally turned the corner, and it's not. We're not going to be playing these teams like we used to, where it's like, okay, they're going to come at us, they're going to get a lead maybe, or they're going to bring us real close. No, I think we're going to dominate them on the line. Like I said, Blake Corum's going to have 150 yards rushing, probably 2 or 3 touchdowns. JJ's, I think, finally going to open it up. He's going to hit his wide receivers down the field. So, pretty confident in this weekend. So,
there you go. There you go. J-Dub. Roll Tide. You know what's going on this week.
Saturday's my birthday, and I kind of opened my present just a little bit to see that Alabama's just going to stomp A&M. We remember what happened last year. It's not going to happen this year. I am a little nervous, though, with Bryce Young. I hate to see him hurt. I hope he can come back. Even without him, we will beat A&M. But I'm not delirious enough to tell you that without Bryce Young, we're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think. And I don't think, if we make the playoffs, we'll make a run. So we do need Bryce Young back right away. I think all year long, I've told you guys, on the pick'ems and that, oh man, don't pick Alabama. We're not going to cover. We're not going to cover. I don't know what the spread is. We're covering. I guarantee you we're going to cover this weekend.
It's going to be a low number.
And the last thing I wanted to say is, Tim, congratulations. I see you're in first place on the pick'em. You snuck through there.
Took me long enough. It's week 5. We still have 8 weeks left, so let's start celebrating and at the end of the year.
All right. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, let me see. Sorry, I opened the tab. I had to double check that. I had to verify that result. It is true, apparently. Larry,
how about your Utes?
Yeah.
Should be a good game. Yep. The real U, not the fake one down here in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. The real U doesn't lose to Middle Tennessee State.
All right.
Oh man, Middle Tennessee State.
It'll be a great measuring stick game. That's what I think, and so I think we got it. But really, I'm going to watch the USC game this week. So want to see you guys stomp Wazoo.
And it's not at 3 a.m.
Oh, jeez.
In real time.
Yeah, you know what? My neighbors don't like my generator running on Pac-12 football in Florida because we had a power outage. I have to listen to my generator at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh man, thank God you're safe. Thank God you're safe, bro.
Yeah, the eye went over us, but I'm good. So, yep.
Yeah, but
we're glad.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Go Utes.
There you go. Thank God I'll be back in Central Time next week. This Eastern Time, just 1 hour makes a huge difference.
I mean, you're in the superior time zone right now, so I don't know why you'd go back.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay. That's just your own personal false opinion, Jordan. That's not confirmed by astrophysics at all in any sense of the word.
It is. But
Don't stop spewing fake news.
Alex
has been quiet the whole night. He's been in the stream for a while now.
Yeah, I've been hanging out, enjoying myself. How's everybody?
Okay, there he is.
You know what? Hey guys, Alex is awesome. I'm giving him a go Bears.
Go bring it on.
I didn't even know if he was actually knew he was in the stream because he had been so quiet. So
yeah, I'm still mulling over that that ass kicked we got up in Pullman, which kind of surprised me because I thought after Arizona we kind of had things figured out on offense, but nope. So it's going to be a fun bye week to see if if we can figure that out some more, because then it's Colorado, which I don't know if you call it 2 straight bye weeks, but I saw Colorado in person last year. The only word I can to describe them is disgusting. Like that, there's no way they're winning games, no matter the coaching. It's just so bad over there. But yeah, I mean, we have Washington in 3 weeks, so not a whole lot to talk about until then. So, but it's gonna be a quiet few Saturdays.
Well, I will warn you. We talked about this earlier. Brought this up. I was like, hey, I want our bye week too for Oregon at Colorado, but then they decided to fire the coach. Well, that's when teams start to play football. All of a sudden, they decide hey, what?
That again, they were. I mean, again, I don't know what they're supposed to do at this point. Like I was watching again because I knew that they were going to make a move at some point. I figured we'd be playing there's going to be a different coach when we go to Boulder, which happened today. But I was watching just a Colorado post game just to see what their thoughts were, and they said they're not stopping anybody. I don't care. I don't know what you do with that team right now. So I think we can push around like we pushed Arizona around. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Darrell firing, I think to anyone here in the chat not a surprise. Period. It was just when they were.
When they hired Darrell, I basically knew they were giving up on football. I knew that was not gonna. They were gonna go nowhere with Darrell.
Well, he did have he had that surprising 2020, but he also had the left.
Yeah, but
that was smoke and mirrors.
When they got blown out by Texas, they were never going to do anything. So, yeah.
Well,
hey, what's that supposed to mean?
What
was that supposed to mean?
I will
they got blew out by Texas.
This public chat. I will time out everyone in this public chat. I swear.
Imagine losing to Texas.
Don't you get
it? Won't be me. It'll actually be Mark doing it.
Yeah.
So
I think Mark's asleep.
We need to get Mark in this one of these.
Well, I know, but I'll time him out as Mark, so it will be Mark.
He was on the first one, but not for the right reasons.
Oh, Will. Damn.
All right, guys.
Yes, pretty much. That's exactly what I was getting to here in a second. I think we've hit over 2 hours. We're past even our normal time. Please go ahead, everyone. Drop your links in the comment one by one and promote yourself quickly, and let's get the hell out of here because it is 1:30 in the morning Eastern.
Oh, wait, I thought this show was going to be what Tim calls the Iron Horse. I thought we were going 3 hours tonight.
No, that's only Mark Rogers.
Well,
that's only Mark Rogers.
Tim can carry this on.
Okay,
we can sit here and go all night, all day.
I'm on the 6-4. I need to go have a cigarette. And it takes me like 10 minutes to get downstairs and back up. This elevator is slow as hell.
Oh, the 6-4.
You don't have a window?
No, they don't. No, they're sealed. It's a 6-4.
Oh. Yeah, they don't do that in hotels no more.
Certain
can't even crack that shit.
Tony, you got drop yourself, promote yourself. Let's do this, and let's wrap this thing up while we're ahead.
You're on mute, Tony.
My Twitter handle's right on there. You guys can all. It's love to engage with folks. Love chatting with folks. So feel free to hit me up anytime, guys.
Yep. Same thing. DM me any questions. Tony and I have our show on Wednesday night, 7:30. I'm sorry. No, sorry. The Pac-12 show is on at 7:30 on Wednesday, and then Rick, Tony, and I have, as always, on Saturday after the USC game, we do a post-game show. We'd love to have all of you guys there.
I'm Brandon from D4 Sports, and I do live shows on Wednesdays. You'll catch me on Mark Rogers' Texas post-game show. And I put out preview and prediction videos every week with a lot of these guys right here on the panel, and really enjoy being here. I hit up that Discord server, the Patreon, and all that good mess. And Thank you all. Have a good night. I'll have Jordan put my link in the description if you will.
You got it, boss.
Hook 'em horn.
Wow. What was that? I'll have Jordan do it? Like what?
Well, I'm not a
He's
mod.
not a mod. That's
You modders. You modders.
Whatever. Will,
I thought
Let's
Brandon had a
move on.
secretary.
Will.
You guys can find me on YouTube at WillND. I dropped my channel link in the description. I'm gonna try to do a live reaction to the BYU game. It might just be me yelling at the TV, but hopefully it'll be more happier times. But yeah, hopefully it should be a win. And yeah, have a great week, everyone.
When Jordan's done working for D4, he can promote himself too.
Yeah, sorry, just doing my duties. My Twitter handle's right there, right next to my name, Jordan. I do live shows with D4 every Wednesday at 8:30. So be sure to check that out. I also am a co-host on the Clemson Voice of College Football channel. We do pregame and postgame shows for all the Clemson games. So make sure you guys stop by. You don't have to be a Clemson fan. All fan bases are welcome to be real. It's a lot of fun, a lot of engagement. So be sure to check those out. Once again, guys, we really appreciate you guys coming out. Feel free if you want more perks, please hit up that Patreon. You get access to the Discord and Mark's picks against the spread and picks against the spread from other college football experts. So be sure to check that out as well. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Dustin, I don't know if you have much to promote, but promote yourself by all means.
Yeah, no, I got some things going on here. I don't have my own channel. I am a knucklehead, just like everybody else here. Get on Patreon, get on Discord, sign up. It's fun. I did. I enjoy it. I love these guys. We have a great time every time I get on. And I'd like to introduce something that's coming out. Talk to a couple of these guys. We are going to have some merchandise coming here soon. So stay tuned. And we'll pass that on over to Tide Guy.
Jeff, before you get started, I forgot. Joey had asked me to remind everyone that there's a new website for Mark Rogers. Did anyone remember the site number? Voice of College Football?
The Voice of College Football.com.
Yeah,
Voice of collegefootball.com. Please go check that out. Also, on there are going to be writers in the subreddit that will be writing for different teams. So please give it a look.
You can find them on what is it? Stack.
Substack.
Substack. But you can also find it through the website as well.
All right. Well, I'm Tide Guy. I do videos Monday through Friday. You can find me on my channel. It's Tide Guy. I'm going to start, and I'm going to get with Tim and tonight and Tony and decide, starting this week, we're going to do a Jeopardy sports night. And we're going to have regulars on there for the first 2 weeks. We're going to play just to kind of get the bugs out. And then starting in week 3, I'm going to bring one person in from the chat to go against these guys. And if they can beat the guys on the panel, they'll win a gift. So come over, check me out. And it's either going to be Monday night or Tuesday night. And I'll put it on my channel which day it will be here in the morning. But check me out. You can learn some stuff during the Jeopardy games. And if not, just watch my videos.
Awesome. We just got out of order, so I got a little confused on where we were going here. Larry. Yeah, we were going on to Larry. That's where we were going.
I don't have a YouTube channel. Just love bouncing on your guys's riding your guys's coattails. And I'm not in the SEC. So anyway, good luck to everybody this week, and hopefully nobody gets embarrassed and we can be proud of our teams.
Go Blue.
So, there you go.
Hey, Jeff. I'll wait till I go. Go ahead.
No. What's up?
I just got
that's
something
what
for
we
Jeff. Yeah, go ahead, finish it out.
No, if you got a question for Jeff, ask it. Ask it. Go ahead, Dustin.
Oh, it's just about the merchandise. Jeff asked me about the Jeopardy show that he's gonna be doing, and you know, for people that win, we're gonna start off. I do woodworking. I do custom woodworking, so probably gonna be doing some boards. You know, first off for the winners, and then we'll figure out something after that. But Jeff asked me. He's a Navy guy. I'm an Army guy. He asked me the other day about cutting out like a battleship, you know, for Navy. So if you guys are into something like that, let any of these guys know. Again, the merchandise and stuff will be coming out here soon. A couple other guys are on here that have already ordered some stuff, and I've already making custom boards for all of you guys here right now tonight. You guys already know that. So other than that, yeah. No, I just want to let Jeff know that I got some good ideas for that like battleship he was talking about.
Hey, appreciate it, Dustin.
As for that battleship,
you.
it better say Army on the bow of it.
No, it says Army. It says Army on the 16-inch shell that's coming your way.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think
Send
that's
it.
legal to ship anywhere or build. So you'll have to discuss that with other laws. But yeah, Oregon, I expect to win, but at Arizona, Tim, Tony, especially, we know you never know what's going to happen on some of those games. So we'll see what happens this next week with Oregon. But exactly, we have gone so far over time, even for normal. So exactly as everyone said, we appreciate every super chat here. We appreciate all of your commitments, your chats, your questions, and we appreciate everyone just joining us tonight, spending the time with us, because you could do whatever else you want to do, but you chose to spend it here with us here on the Voice of College Football. So please, every Sunday night, come join us. You can find here in the link I'm about to send on the chat, on Instagram and Twitter, and then I do the Oregon post-game / recap shows too every week as available. And please, definitely join Tony and Tim and LBC on their and Pac-12 shows every week. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Have a great night.
Night, y'all.